And welcome, folks, to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And, folks, we got a great show today. We're going to discuss Mayor Brandon Johnson fighting against ICE to keep the illegals here in the Black community. We're also going to talk a little bit about the James Comey indictment. So if you ain't got nothing to do, call your friends and let them know. You're listening to Let the Truth Be Told Radio. I'm your host, Pastor David. Y'all come on in. Thank you. And welcome, folks, to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And first, let me give all praises to God and Yahusha. That's Jesus, if you want to know. And I want to welcome everybody to the show. Well, folks, we got a great show today, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's been going on here in Chicago. I think that, first, let me say this about the shutdown. This country was shut down for 4 years under the Biden administration, and guess what? We just had to deal with what happened. And now this country's been shut down for 6 or 7 days, and the Democrats are going crazy because, one, they making demands against the American people for the illegals for trillions of dollars. So we really have to understand what's going on here, and we really have to support the Trump administration because they're doing righteous things to get this country back on track. And in saying that, I got a great cast, man. Dr. Shaq is back, and we're going to talk about Brandon Johnson, but we're going to talk a little bit about James Comey and that indictment. So, folks, let me get my cast in. What's up, everybody?
How you doing?
Guys.
Hello.
Good to see you. Good.
Welcome back, Doc, to the show. It's good to see all of y'all. You know, we are second to none for any panel in the United States for talk shows. So any of y'all want to talk shows, want to compete against us here at Let the Truth Be Told Network, we'll be glad to take any topic. Y'all come on with it. Because I'm hearing, man, we got such a great, intelligent group, man. People are flocking to the station. And, folks, y'all can see us on our new TV channel. That's LetTheTruthBeTold.lightcast.com. Y'all can see it running at the bottom down there. We're also on our other platforms. And to the Lucretia Hughes people, welcome. We love it that y'all listening to us. I done found a new feature on my
we see that.
I see. Use away.
You know, welcome back to everybody. Listen, I want to talk a little bit today about the shutdown because we got some time. And I want to talk about the James Comey indictment. And that's going to be our first. See, to the American people and patriots across this country, y'all got to know that everything that happened under the Biden administration, happened under the Obama administration, it flourished when Joe Biden took office. They forced a lifestyle on us and a culture change that none of us Americans was ready for. they created the rift even worse between the Democrats and Republicans, because during that time, the Democratic Party showed their hand. They have been against the American people ever since that we can remember. This surprise attack on us is no longer a surprise. And the biggest thing that has come out of this, it has created such a stir in the Black community that they woke up a sleeping giant that they can't lock back down again. And I'm saying it because here in Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson has continued to throw Black people under the bus. He has continued to support illegal immigrations. And President Trump, I know you're going to watch the show sometime or another. Why don't you just lock they ass up? Why don't you lock up J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson? They're violating federal laws, and you have every right and authority to do so. They need to be made an example of. They need to be put in prison. They need to be tried for treason, because everything that they have done have been treasonous against our government, treason against the American people by supporting these gang members and rapists and all. They have really shown their hand, and they need to be locked up. Doc, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, basically it's been allowed. Let's just be honest. Because if they really wanted them locked up, they would be, but they're not. Because see, the illegals, they serve two sides of a coin. See, I don't think anybody's really looking at this deeper. And I did a little bit of a deep dive on my show when I came back on Tuesday, also looking at the digital ID in UK and how they're blaming immigration, right? And they're saying, well, we need this ID in place so we can separate you two. This is not an accident, what's happening. And both sides are responsible, because at any time they could have locked down our borders. The Republicans, you're still alive in Congress, but you're not doing anything. The question is the why. It's not that they can't do it. It's why aren't they doing anything?
Krisha?
Me personally, Pritzker and Brandon Johnson need to be sat down at this point, not only for the sedition, but the treacherous ways. He is now coming out, Brandon Johnson, saying that the ICE agents need to be arrested on the spot. They are the ones that's calling for civil war. You got Pritzker up there talking about, well, Trump is trying to steal the 26 ballots. I'm sitting here, that's your history. That is y'all history. But the rhetoric that is coming out of Brandon Johnson and Pritzker, this is like going to start a constitutional crisis.
Dre?
Well, I'm with Lucretia 100%, because what we're seeing is they are inciting violence through their words, through their rhetoric. And what's happening, they're trying to create a division in the Black community. And if you guys are paying attention, you'll see that Jasmine Crockett is coming out here. Don't look the other way when ICE is doing this to people, because if they can do this unlawfully to illegals, then you're next. They're going to do it to you next. And I am going to address this with a separate panel to discuss how these leaders are pitting Black and brown people against ICE and saying that ICE is actually targeting people. ICE is not targeting people. We saw why they went into South Shore specifically. And for those that don't know, that's where they sent illegal aliens first when they got to Chicago. So they know that they're there. They went to that building in Chicago and came down from the helicopter because there are some dangerous people living there. And we're not going to put ICE officials, ICE agents' lives on the line. We're not going to put people's lives on the line. We're going to go in there professionally and take them out without shooting a single shot. Like, no one talks about that part of the operation. All they're saying is, oh, they zip-tied people. They're making up this BS argument or statement that they were zip-tying children and walking them out butt naked. That none of that happened, and it's been debunked, but people keep saying it. I keep hearing it on social media. We need to push back against it.
Randy?
I'm with Lucretia. It's sedition, it's treason, and it's borderline mutiny, really, actually, at the end of the day.
It is.
And so I'm along the lines of also of the sentiment that to Dr. Nicholas' point, we could have done something already. Both sides are complicit in all of this. You know, this is brownie points, this is political points that they're playing with, and these are people's lives that we're playing with. And so I'm of that, you know, that hey, you know what, politicians, you want to play these games, you want to play these stupid games, all of you are getting arrested. And the FBI, CIA, whoever, you know, the Justice Department, they can just say, you know what, we're not gonna play the partisan game. We better just go in and follow the laws, follow the books, and whoever is in not in compliance, have a nice life at Club Fed. That's why I'm at that.
And can I say one more thing? Because like they received a call from ICE that they needed help, that the crowd was getting unruly, and there was an order that was made that all the police forces for that area were to stand down, right? So they put those ICE agents' lives in danger. And now that the president is calling Brandon Johnson out for it, Brandon Johnson now is playing the race card. This is not the first time that President Trump has tried to lock a black man up. I'm so tired of him playing the race card. This is ridiculous. You were wrong. You were wrong. You didn't try to maintain order in your city, and you put the lives of ICE agents at risk.
Well, and since you said that, Dre, let's take a look and see what the Village Idiot said.
Certainly not about immigration. This was about a show of authoritarianism. ICE agents chased people outside of a homeless shelter on the south side and then caused a car accident on the west side. Immigration agents put a young black man in a chokehold on the side of the street in East Garfield Park. We have a rogue, reckless group of heavily armed masked individuals roaming throughout our city that are not accountable to the people of Chicago. Their actions put all Chicagoans at risk. We need ICE out of our city. Today, we are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out-of-control administration. The order establishes ICE-free zones.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Okay, guys, let's talk about that because let me say this first. He is a effing idiot if he thinks that he can gaslight the people of Chicago any longer with the bullshit that they did. They had over 600 Tren de la gang ruthless killers in the South Shore, in the black community. The plan was to put them into the black community. They was going to feed crime into our children and our schools and our businesses. This is how bad it was at South Shore. The gang members was taking the rent from the people that was living there.
Been doing it for a while.
So for them to be set up like this to the people of Chicago, when we hear this idiot that doesn't care about Chicagoans who continue to pay illegals to invade the black community and take it over, man, he needs to be put into a place where he is nobody but him. He needs to be locked up. I sent a message to President Trump this morning. Can he please let the Department of Justice come get this fool, him and J.B. Pritzker, and show the world that you cannot continue to disrespect federal law and get away with it and talk crap about it.
Yeah, it's really, really sad. And I read through his wonderful executive order, and it does include immigrants in there. But see, they also call people residents. It's a lot of wordplay, you know. And so the thing about it is they're not acknowledging that they have a problem, right? But to say that ICE can't go certain places, I'm like, sir, this is an admission that you are actually harboring illegal aliens. And you've put it in paper, you've put it in writing. Let's just put it that way. You've put it in writing that you are going to actually stop federal agents from doing their job, which is a violation of two different federal orders. Title 8, Section 1324, and Title 18, Section 111. You cannot stop them from doing their job, and you cannot harbor illegal aliens, and you're doing both. And I'm telling you, you read that executive order, it outlines it. So, yeah, he's up for arrest. Sorry, there's the evidence.
Crease, what you think?
Me personally, I don't know who gassing him up, but they need to pull that plug. Okay, I don't know who is pimping him up, but he need to stop.
It's the Democratic Party. It's the
It is the
DNC.
Democratic Party.
It might be the DNC, but they must not know that the federal government can come in there and step in, especially when you have someone like Brandon Johnson talking about immediately arresting ICE agents. So I feel like, to me, because it seemed like he wasn't raised on the black side of town, because everything he's describing, we have been witnessing in the hoods and the woods. They call the jump out boys. They call the kick your dough in. They called I'm going to tackle you in the middle of the street. So I don't know what he's talking about. And when Chicago has a history where they making documentaries of how bad Chicago been, then he need to hush up, because it seemed like he's getting payola behind the scenes somewhere.
Randy?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly what's going on. He is getting paid. You know, notice that these ICE no-go zones are not applying to the white neighborhoods of Chicago. That's number one. Number two,
Let's talk about that.
none of these illegal immigrants are infiltrating into the white neighborhoods of Chicago. So of course they had a little conference call or a meeting of some type and said, "Hey, do what you do, but don't bring that shit up here."
Exactly.
Exactly. And put it in the black neighborhoods. They're gonna cry. They're gonna moan about it, but they'll be all right. And that's where we at. And Brandon Johnson, okay, master. And that's what's happening. That's what's going on right now. And the black residents of Chicago, the black citizens, of Chicago, they need to stand up and storm into the city hall and say, "Hey, we are not playing this game. You need to let the feds in and take care of business, or you're going to be out of here." And that's where I'm at with that.
Well, Kash Patel just came out and said there's over 110,000 individual gang members in Chicago. So they're going to be up there wild fleshing that out.
Yeah.
Right. And the lead Border Patrol leader, he came out and he said they collected more guns in just a week and a half than they did the entire time they were in LA.
Wow.
So there's a lot of weapons on this street that they're collecting. And you're right, Lucretia, they're going to be there for a while. Another thing I wanted to mention is with these no-go zones, this is something that the Trump administration got rid of. And the reason they got rid of it is before they were taking people that were illegal, they were going into churches. And then from those churches, there were activists that were encouraging other illegal aliens to break the laws. So Trump got rid of that because he was trying to deport this one lady for 2 years that had a final order of deportation. She was an activist that was just pushing it back and talking trash from this church for 2 years. Now Brandon Johnson has brought this back. He wants to have this situation where ICE can't go to these zones. They can't get people in the grocery stores. I guess he's also said they can't get people in the courtroom anymore. I think that is the thing that they test the most. These people that have final orders and they're going in there trying to do their paperwork, they get mad when they get pulled out of the courtroom. Well, your time ran out. Your time ran out. And it's unfortunate, but you got to go.
Check this out,
you notice. I was gonna say, you notice they're not saying that these people are not getting due process. They know they're getting due process.
Exactly.
They can't stop it. So they're like, okay, well, now we just have to do some obstruction outright. Right. So that's what's going on right now.
And that's all it is. That's all that Brandon Johnson's doing right now is obstruction. Yeah. Sorry, Pastor Larry.
No. This is good because this is why I did this. Because just think about this. The federal law trumps state law anytime.
Thank you.
And so when the feds have when they broke federal law, you actually opened the door for the feds to come in and do what they needed to do in your city because there is an illegal situation going on. And that's why I've been sitting, I'm telling you, I reached out for President Trump this morning and I asked him, would he please arrest Brandon Johnson and JB Pritzker because they're defying and breaking the Constitution. It doesn't make sense.
Wait a minute, Pastor. You might be on to something. The White House actually have to respond. There's a there's some kind of survey And if there's over 100,000 signatures on a particular petition, the White House have to respond. I just got to figure out what it is. Do you want to arrest Pritzker and Brandon Johnson? Float that around the internet. I guarantee you'll get that 100,000 responses.
Well, you know, we already know that it's well over 100,000 people in Illinois that know that they're breaking federal law. And the point that I'm making, is this: now that they've broken federal law, state law no longer applies. City ordinances no longer apply when the feds come into your state after you have broken federal laws.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom line. So that's why I'm telling President Trump, send the National Guard, because there is a crime problem. That gang has taken over the South Side. They're intimidating people in the Black community. They're allowing illegals to go to empty buildings, and they're working on them, and they're taking the Black community over. And this idiot, Brandon Johnson, is standing up here protecting these people, which is treason against the laws. It's treason to the United States. And that's why I say, President Trump, you need to just step in and end all this foolishness, arrest their asses and lock them up and start putting them through the criminal system, because they are criminals. They're telling you we are criminals. We don't give a damn because we're stealing money from the taxpayers. See, money is one of the roots of all evil. See, a lot of this is coming from Barack Obama. I've been saying it. Y'all know I've been saying it for a long time. He's orchestrating this thing in Chicago. That's who's pulling Brandon Johnson's strings. It really is. In the Democratic Party. That's who it is.
Wait, because he is based out of Chicago, Illinois. And if you and then Trump all of a sudden in the last couple of weeks have really been saying Obama's name. You need to look at Obama. Obama started this. I think Comey is the first kink in the chain that's getting ready to fall.
Well, we're going to get to that, Crease. We've only get let's get rid of Brandon, okay? Let's just a little more Brandon.
Brandon's going down. Like I said, he violated he violated Title 8, Section 1324, harboring illegal aliens. Also, Title 18, Section 111, actually interrupting ICE in their duties. You cannot interrupt a federal officer or agent in the line of their duty. And he's written an ordinance interrupting their actual work. Like I said, if you look at that ordinance, I'm like, he's guilty. Like, what are we doing?
Yep, here it is.
Executive order aimed at limiting where federal agents can gather in the city. This order will prohibit them from using certain city-owned spaces for immigration enforcement activities. The order, which is set to take effect immediately, will prohibit federal immigration authorities from using city-owned or controlled parking lots, vacant lots, and garages as staging areas, processing locations, or operation spaces for civil immigration enforcement activities, it states.
We are here today to talk about the events that have transpired over the past week. Past week revealed the true face of the administration's immigration enforcement in our city, and the entire world was able to witness that. On Tuesday, federal immigration agents raided an apartment building in the South Shore community in the middle of the night. This building was managed by a slumlord that people have all been clear about. The city
Wait a minute.
Stop. Wait a minute. Is it a known slumlord? Like you
Right.
know?
Check it out. That's what I'm saying. He said this building was known by a slumlord. Then all of a sudden he stopped for a second.
Because you know what's going on and you haven't done anything about it? Like what?
I'm having someone look into who actually owns that building, because what we were speculating is that he has a relationship with Brandon Johnson or his cabinet administration.
Oh yeah, of course he does.
And you know what that also means? That Tren de la Raga gang that was there, they knew that they was there. Brandon Johnson knew that they was there.
Yeah.
So he's
absolutely
aiding and abetting criminals right there.
Yep.
that's got to be who he's on the hook with. Because somebody actually said it, because Cook County is known for their criminal activity, right? And somebody actually said they are more than likely have been working with the cartel a long time. And that's been a long saying that they've been working with Venezuela, Nicaragua for a long time.
And see, and that's what I'm talking about. This ridiculous corruption, and black people ain't benefiting nothing out of none of this.
Nope.
They're steady taking away our communities.
But you see, exactly, and you see them standing up, lined up behind him, like,
Well,
Yeah.
that's the single-digit amount of people that actually support him.
Yep.
Right.
That-
And we'll say allegedly, right? With the whole
Yeah.
TDA thing. Allegedly, he's funded by these cartels because that only makes sense, right?
Mhm.
Because he's not fighting for the actual citizens
Nope.
that
No.
live there. He's literally fighting to protect people that are not just illegal, but they're criminals.
He's protecting criminals. And that's the point that to the American people in Patriot Culture's country, now we can see what the Democratic Party has done. Outside shutting our country down because they wanted to give another $1 trillion to illegals to stay on our healthcare system. I mean, you have to be able to see what the Democrats have done, and now they're in the wide open. They can't cover themselves no more because it's all out there. They created the Safety Act so that when these illegals got in trouble here, they were able to walk them out of the court system. Then, now that they've got them here, they put them in the black community. They set them up centrally with big properties, just like he said. Well, the slumlord was there.
Right.
This is-
And here's my thing, Pastor Larry.
Yeah.
He was aware of this, right?
Yes.
Where was his outrage when the people were calling about the TDA activity there on a daily basis? They were making these calls and making these complaints. But when President Trump comes in and actually does something about it, now everybody's up in arms. Oh, it's overkill.
It's a problem.
Yes, it's a problem. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that he's aware. He's ignoring the
Yes.
Black Americans, and he needs to be removed.
Well, you know, that's the whole thing that I'm talking about too, because with that being said, and he knows the problem. It's not like that he don't know, but he's part of that. That's conspiracy. He could be arrested on the RICO Act by just what he just said about it.
That's what he said.
Yep. Let's play a little bit more of that.
Building code violations. The residents were dealing with deplorable conditions already. This was before ICE trampled them. But when they came in the middle of the night, they terrorized the families that were living there. There were children who were without clothing. They were zip tied, taken outside at 3 o'clock in the morning. A senior resident, an American citizen with no warrants, was taken outside and handcuffed for 3 hours. Doors were blown off their hinges, walls were broken through. Immigration agents coming from Black Hawk helicopters to set up snipers on nearby buildings. This is America.
Y'all thoughts on that? What y'all think
No,
about
that's Chicago. They've called it
Yeah,
Chirac for a reason.
I called it Beirut. I mean, down here in the South, it's like Beirut up there.
You know, it's great that they did that. You know, and it set the tone and set the message that, hey, yeah, we're going to inconvenience the innocent for a little bit. You don't need a warrant to temporarily detain somebody for the safety of not only them, but also for the officers that are actually conducting the operation. So they will be all right. But at the end of the day, that family, those kids and whatnot, they're going to be grateful at the fact that, hey, the threat has been eliminated. I can go about my life again. And, you know, it is what it is. So for Brandon Johnson trying to paint that picture as such, I would say to him, you go live there. You go and spend the night in that building. You already knew it was in deplorable conditions.
Yes, that's what I was going to get at.
You already knew the conditions of it. So they'll sit here and cry now because somebody's coming in to do your job. That's
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
And and Andre, your zip tie talking point, that's yeah.
And that's a
Straight
lie.
from the mayor.
Yeah,
That's all a lie.
absolutely. And I'm wondering, why is he continuing to lie? Why is he still promoting that story when it's been debunked? And here's another thing. I got a question about these parents, because the story that they're saying doesn't line up. Because I know I have 4 kids. I have a 5th one that's coming in on the way in March. And we don't put them to bed butt naked. Okay. So how are they not putting these kids in bedtime clothes?
Yeah, exactly.
Something's not lining up. I don't think anybody sends their kids to bed butt naked.
See,
No.
you want to come in on that crease? I see your face over there.
Who ain't lived on the South Side and then witnessed that on the regular? It's called the Red Dogs. It's the jump out boys. You do wrong, they come and busting in your house
Early in the morning.
Early, they don't give you no warning. They just busted down your doors. No knock warrants is a thing in the hood. So for him to sit here and say, make it sound like Beirut, it actually is. But he won't stay there. We've seen videos, stories for the last, as long as I can remember, little young girl sitting on the stoop, drive-by shooting, dead. Some guy that was literally a funeral, all of a sudden you got gang activities and there was drive-by shootings. It's always something in Chicago. Every weekend there's murder, death, murder, and death. So for Trump to negate his job to protect the American citizens and everything within, then they would have something to say about it. Well, he didn't stand up enough when we was asking for help. But when it comes to Chicago, and I think there's a whole something in the 1930s or 20s, and I know my daddy didn't have nothing down there in his balls, so he wasn't even born then. It's called Bloody Sunday, Bloody Valentine. This is where we know they make mafia movies, kickbacks, say hello to my little friend. So I don't know what the
Yeah, Cook County is synonymous with crime.
It is.
Period.
It's called
They
Cook
made
County.
movies about it. They made a musical about it called Chicago.
Well,
Murder Row. I mean, look.
every governor has been to prison except 1 or 2. I can't think of a governor that ain't been to prison. And this is what I don't really understand. This is why I say Brandon Johnson is an idiot, and he should just be put in prison. He's on here talking about how bad the building is. You the mayor, you already know the building bad. You already know that the illegals are there selling dope and stealing kids. You are aiding. You are an accessory to crime.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't they call it plausible deniability?
Right, but the thing of it is here, he's wide out in the open. He's on national TV saying that the building was messed up and we let the criminals come in and they were doing their thing and doing what they needed to do. Now, all of a sudden, the ICE come in. He's lying about the kids. He's trying to create sympathy for illegals who are getting money that black people never got the reparations, but they're taking our community, and he steady funding an invasion of the black community, y'all.
It's crazy how they're really trying to make crime okay, right? They're trying to really tell us like it's okay for people to be criminals. Crime isn't bad. I think Jamie Raskin was talking about it. He was like, "Oh, there's always been crime." I was like, "What? Nobody's okay with this. Stop normalizing crime." And that's what I meant to say. They are normalizing it, and they want all the rest of us to go, "Well, it's not that bad." No, all of it's bad.
But
all of it's bad. All of this bad, and the simple fact is that they're insulated from it because they have their security, they have their gated communities, they have protection. They're not social people if you really think about it. You don't see them hanging out with their friends on a Saturday night or at the bar after they get off of work. No, they're not doing any of that. They're work and home, and they lock themselves in, and they create this rhetoric and all this stupidity and say, "Well, it's not that bad. You all deal with it." And it's like, well, what about you?
It was like they added $90 million for themselves in the package for security. By the way,
And this is the thing that the American people and patriots across this country these are the things that we really need to look at, and how bad the Democrats have gotten, and how they do not value American life.
I'm
You
rolling
know?
my eyes. Stop, Pastor. Stop it. If they put it in the book, okay, and it's longer than 30 seconds, most people are not going to pick it up and read it. This is instant, ain't got time. It's like instant coffee. It sucks anyway. You might as well brew it yourself. But no one is gonna actually dig in there. Right now, it's the Republicans, they're racist, they're trying to push grandmother over the cliff. Nah, it's $1.7 trillion that you're trying to get everybody else but the American citizens when we're $37 trillion in debt, $200 trillion in unfunded liability, and you got it wide open to give us digital currency so you can be omnipotent on earth. I'm over trying to explain it to a certain community when we have been the experiments forever.
Yes.
So when do we grow up and stop, with they hate you because your skin color? No, they hate you because of the money. We are in a caste system, not a class system. I'm about sick of them.
And you know what? That is so true.
You're
Lucretia,
not wrong.
People can understand this. And then I said it on another show. That was exactly what it is. It's about the money.
Mhm.
It's about who is going to control the black dollar. That's what it's about. That's why we see everybody that comes, no matter what foreigner it is, they come to the United States and they come straight to the black community.
Mhm.
Because we don't own it. They come straight to our community. They set up shop.
Yep.
They sell food. They sell
And they're
hair.
allowed to. And they're allowed
Yeah.
to. They're encouraged.
And
They're
everybody
given
want
all
our
of
dollar.
the access.
And that's sad, because what about black people having their own dollar and do it? That's what I'm preaching. We got to come out
But
of this.
Pastor, they get denied. They get denied. When a black person tries to go open up a shop in their own hood, they get denied because they got bad credit, they got no credit, they got no money, they got too much money. There's always a barrier when it comes to a foundational black person in the black community trying to do something
They ain't gonna
prosperous
get no
for
support.
their
Let's be
community.
honest.
Yeah,
There'll be no
and then
support.
but how in the hell is it possible that a foreigner with no ties to the United States got better credit than you do? You
Exactly.
ain't even got a credit. Make it make sense. But
And remember, if you want to become something better, you're going to have that crab in the bucket mentality. I remember when you were. So no matter if you're trying to build yourself, no matter what you're trying to do in your own community, holy crap, I don't know why Jesus had to leave his own community in order to make, it is
Because
what
the
it is.
prophet isn't welcome in their own home.
Right.
There's actually a grocery store
Right.
in Chicago that's on the verge of closing. And I didn't even know it existed, but it is a black-owned grocery store. I think it's called Living or Thriving, something like that. And they're trying to keep their doors open. And I'm like, there's something there.
It's
But
government
people didn't know it
subsidized.
was there. I'm like,
Back in the
how
day-
is
back in
that
the-
even possible?
Yeah, back in the day, it was Buddy Bears. Pastor, I know you remember Buddy Bear.
Yeah, I
Buddy
remember
Bears
that.
was a grocery store. That was a black-owned grocery store back in the
And
day.
then certifieds too.
Yep.
Certified foods was in the black
Certified,
community.
yep.
Yep. So, like these things, what I don't understand about us as black people, we spend more money than everybody, but we let everybody in our community to take our money out.
We don't let them in. We don't let them in. Stop that. The
Okay,
government
well-
allows that nonsense. We
Well-
just don't kick them out.
Right.
There's a difference.
Right.
But
The powers to be let them in, and we just allow it. You're absolutely
Yep.
right, Doc. You're absolutely right
And to
about
go
that.
off of
And
Randy's
I
point,
don't mean no harm. Have you seen the benefits that they get as being foreigners to open up a lot of
Yes.
businesses?
Yeah.
We don't get that type unless
They
you
get
know
red
somebody,
carpet.
that knows somebody.
Right.
And then they might be, kicking down your door because you took too much money in the PPP loan. But
Mhm.
they get more benefits to come over here and actually open up stores in impoverished areas. It's just like the
Yes.
DEI. You thought that was a good thing until you realize it wasn't going to the black people to actually do it. And then if it
Right.
did, the small amount of the black people that got the money went out there and blew it in the wrong way and didn't really establish anything.
Well, to my
Absolutely.
ladies, tomorrow, Lucretia and Doc, we're gonna have some guests on the show. We're gonna talk about that 380 some people, women that got laid off on DEI hires and all that. We got a discrimination case we're going to talk about that came about that we've already taken. And these are Black women who have lost these positions. You know, some people are saying they should have, some people saying that it's an attack on the Black family. But to me, it's a little bit of both. But the most thing that bothers me the most in the federal government, if you had a degree in dog catching, you could come in and get a 6-figure salary.
Yeah.
Yep.
You see, and so that right there, now that DEI has ended, you ain't gonna get no position if you're not qualified for the position.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so
that's the whole ruckus.
Yeah, so we're gonna explore that with these 2 clients tomorrow, but we'll talk about that. But to me, right now, the saddest thing is that the fact that the mayor and the governor are criminals. They're conspiring against the citizens of Chicago and the state of Illinois, and they're stealing taxpayer dollars. They're giving it to illegals who have broken the law. They're also allowing them to have a criminal enterprise, because Brandon Johnson knew about this building and the Tren de la gang members that was there, who he admitted was a slumlord, and the building was messed up before ICE came.
Right.
But here's a question I want to ask my fellas, and I want to ask everybody on the panel. How in the world did they accomplish that raid without a shot fired? That was how many soldiers on that road? Nobody in the blocks around blocks didn't see a lot of military people getting ready to encamp around one building, and they took it down without without anybody knowing. How did that happen?
They overwhelmed it. They rushed it because they went in with 300 people, trained experts, 300. They propelled down. They cut off the fence with like a chainsaw. They surrounded the building from all areas.
I got a little footage for that, folks. Let's look at it right quick.
Live from Ivers Club in Atlanta, 5 Plus News. I'm John Op. ICE and other federal agents are currently in Chicago to fight against crime and immigration on behalf of President Trump's latest push to clean up cities across the country. Now, at the top of September, we reported Trump's threats to send in the National Guard to Chicago, only to be met with pushback from city officials and warnings from some of their residents that gangs in Chicago would not be an easy fight. Now, part of Operation Midway Blitz, ICE and other agents have begun sweeping through Chicago, which has now raised concerns of Black Chicago residents and others on who ICE is targeting. Just 2 nights ago, close to 300 armed agents would raid an apartment complex in a Black neighborhood at 2 a.m. According to reports, the raid was expected to focus on potential Venezuelan immigrants and gang members, but would end up disrupting the lives of Black residents and children during the night.
Shows the chaotic scene overnight. Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents.
One of the Black American residents whose door was kicked in and was detained would share what he experienced, sharing that he was put into a van with others after assuming agents had the wrong home. While speaking to local outlet Block Hub Chicago, the man would go on to reveal, "They didn't tell me why I was being detained." Another Black Chicago resident who was also detained will go on to tell local news about the moment she was grabbed by ICE.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me did I have any warrants, and I told them no.
She said she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m.
Now listen to this, folks. Let's talk about that. Okay. In a raid such as this, and you got about 400 or 500 gang members out of the building that was taking your money. You were scared for your children to come out because they could snatch your kids. They were child traffickers. They was women traffickers. So quite naturally, if you're going to eradicate these people out of that facility, you're going to have to get the citizens and put them in a safe place so that they don't get caught up in the crossfire if it happens. But you see how the media made Black people like they complaining, and I guarantee you they were happy that they got them out of there because they can resume their lives again.
Yeah.
Right. They knew that they were going to release them again, but had they told them that, you know what I'm saying, it kind of would have blew the mission, right?
Yeah.
So they had to gather up everybody put them in safety. Yes, you're detained, but you're in safety. And then we got to get everybody else, because that's actually what happened to Nick Sortor in Portland, Oregon. It was easier to get him away from the protesters than it would have been to take on the protesters and try to defend him.
Here's a question. I mean, because I'm going to play devil's advocate. Maybe, just maybe, them arresting her too, it would not put her in the crosshairs of any gangs that might want to retaliate because they might think she's a rat. So she better
exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They will take innocent people and literally detain them because they don't really know if she's innocent or guilty, right? They just know that she's being detained. So they're like, well, maybe she did something that we don't know about. Right. So it basically, we sweep everybody. Doesn't matter. We sweep everybody. Then we can get rid of the real criminals and let you guys go later into safety.
Yeah. And absolutely. And Pastor Laurie, they arrested 37 people. They utilized 300 agents to storm the building. However, when we're looking at this situation, of course they're going to question everybody. And there's two things that are happening at once. Anybody that is an illegal alien is going to be arrested and deported. But anybody that also has a warrant, an active warrant, is going to be arrested as well. So they're not playing any games. So they're addressing local crime, and they're addressing our laws being broken and having these illegal aliens deported.
Yep, and go ahead, Randy.
I was gonna say, I look at it like this: they're complaining about their doors being kicked in and everything else. You was already living in a crappy building, so you was already out of code. Bro. So at the end of the day, that's an opportunity that all that destruction happened for people to come in and clean it up and make it anew again. So,
and Brandon Johnson, he benefits from it. He gonna benefit because
not anymore. He's not benefiting. It looked like New Jack City. If you look at it, Nino Brown, it looked like New Jack City. That's what I called it New Jack Chicago, because by the time it's being cleared up, it's not like they haven't been torturing the poor community because you got to remember there's white people, Hispanics, Asian people. It's the poor side of town, the poor side of Chicago, O Block, G Block. The South Side, it's been a war zone since they decided to start building up projects in the ghetto and doing testing on them up there in the 50s and 60s. So in the projects, how did they get the guns up there? Democrats and the CIA. How they get the drugs up in there? Democrats and the CIA. So if you go really looking at Chicago, they got an Italian section, they got a black section, they got a poor white trash section. So Chicago has been an experimental zone ever since projects was formed.
And you know what? I really take offense to Brandon Johnson because he should really be in prison right now because it clearly shows that he is running a criminal enterprise. So I'm telling the feds, why don't you use the same laws that you used against Larry Hoover when you said he ran a criminal enterprise from prison?
Well, I'm going
to need a law. You can use the same law.
New sheriffs in town. This is not the old same old. You messing with Gen Xers that we don't have nothing to lose and we don't take no orders. So right now you got Pete Hegseth, you got Tom Homan, you got Christy Gnomes, you got Pam Bundy snapping right now. And what they did to Cash Patel and Dan Bonagino alone, I'm sitting back and I'm popping popcorn. This is going to be an interesting next 3 years.
So what you're saying, Lucretia, is that there needs to be a regime change in Chicago, in Illinois.
It has to be.
We have to treat Illinois. We have to treat Illinois like its own country, and the federal government has to go in and do a regime change and check out the leadership. Okay, I'm all for it. Let's get it.
Yeah, you can't keep going from Nancy Pelosi, uncle, daddy, and grandpappy in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And all of this going to be cleared up when we see in Lori Lightfoot, she went from a beautiful woman to Beetlejuice Part 3. So there's something going on in the
You ain't lying about that. That happened. She's horrible. Yeah. And then you know what? This is how I say it's confusing for children and people that are using this transgender thing, how is it that Beetlejuice is a woman and her wife is a man?
Ew, don't do that. Don't do that. That is not sanctified. That is not a sanctified. Never mind. Go on.
If you look it up, because I did it on my show way back. Beetlejuice is like 4'11", and the man that's supposed to be a woman is like 6'8". That's the couple that was in Chicago before this idiot Brandon Johnson. Okay, and so this is what I'm saying, folks. Is this? Have you noticed the pattern? The pattern of trying to normalize crime in a democratic city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We create the laws, we force it down to people. They have to accept it. We're gonna create a criminal enterprise by letting the gang members come in. They selling dope, they raping, they killing, they doing it. They're doing everything wrong.
Yeah.
Now, this pattern that they use is called a blitzkrieg. In World War II, the Germans used the blitzkrieg. That means that they came in, they hit you so hard, and it created what's the syndrome?
Shock and awe.
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm,
It created shock and awe. So the blitzkrieg, coming in through the air, land, and sea, technically.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, it came in air and land, and with overwhelming force, and that made the enemy, mentally defeated. Like, man, we can't even do it. We can't even respond to this. And so that's what happened. They were shell shocked. They were shell shocked. That's what it was.
Right. Yeah. But you know what? This is the same tactic that was used with the transgenders and the LGBT. They came in, they hit us, they started forcing it everywhere, forcing it on the TV, forced it in the schools, forced everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
To the American people.
We're pushing back. It's a whole new cream of crop. The more now people are dependent on people like us, the independent media, they're dependent on people like us to tell the truth. So I gotta say it, Pastor, this is our time to shine. And I mean, the light of God to shine through us to show that we're unmovable force. So he put us in a pivotal point in history for not only you be the part of the Black World Brigade, but for us to take our nation back, or at least educate people on how to do it.
Well, that's the reason why I'm running for mayor of Chicago in 2027. Once I get the 5th floor, we're gonna bring some things back and create that family structure. Yeah. Because we have to, as a Black community now, and I'm talking to another show talking about that's gonna come in and talking some life coaching and teaching, because we're gonna open another channel for educational stuff. We're gonna open a sports channel so that we can have Michael Nunn and Bone Crusher and them. They're gonna create shows so we can be a full television station where people can go to our archives. If they have a thought about something, they can plug in, grab a show, and find out, because that's what's killing the Black community, the lack of knowledge. Our children don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. We don't own nothing. Our politicians are working against us like Brandon Johnson, man. And so we are in a bad situation, especially in the Black community. But Lucretia, you're right. This is time for the Black community to shine. Because if we take our own money and start investing into our own selves, now that we see the type of politicians that we have to remove them, and we have to start investing into our own community. Yeah, that's the bottom line. We have to quit. We have to quit buying to the foolishness when everybody tell us we need to have an Armonte this or a Vanderbilt that. We have to say, no, we don't need that. We can have our own stuff that costs a lot less because we can make it ourselves. We have to be just like everybody else. And if Black people don't take this open window under President Trump to recreate itself and to retrain our children, if we don't get ready during this time, and Dre, we talked about this.
Yeah.
The Black community needs to be trained to become employees for all of these companies that the illegals are being ran out of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just a PSA, people need to cancel their Netflix account. I know that Elon Musk has been encouraging it, but it's this latest Transformers cartoon. And I was just like picking up on what Lucretia was talking about with the LGBTQ community. It is focused on talking about, they, them pronouns. But not only that, they've renamed the new Transformers after actual demons in Wiccan. So, we have to realize as human beings, we still are spiritual beings. And with the words that we speak, it carries weight and energy and spiritual vibrations throughout the universe. And so when we have our children, right, programmed to do these things and say these things repeatedly, it is complete wickedness. Like, get away from Netflix. Warning. Like, they have been putting out shows for years. First it was like the show with the 7-year-olds, and then it was another show. It's like, get rid of your Netflix account. Just don't go. Just don't go. Just let it go.
I would caveat with what Doctor's saying. I'm watching this show right now with my wife. It's called last week we watched Wayward. That was an interesting show. And then this week, last night, we started watching Monster, the Ed Gein story. And for those that are watching Netflix and watching that show right there, she's right. You need to cancel Netflix because they're putting out some trash that will taint your mind. And if you're not mentally matured, if you're not spiritually right with not only yourself but with God, then that kind of stuff will influence you, taint your spirit, and you'll go out there and do all kinds of crazy stuff. I can handle it because I know better. But for those that know that they can't handle stuff like that, it's crazy stuff.
All of that should have told everybody with a God spirit when they came on mainstream television with a show called Lucifer as a good guy. Yeah. I said, I don't even watch TV anymore, so Netflixing ain't me. I got banned from YouTube, so unless I'm scrolling through Facebook, that's the only thing I'm gonna watch. So it's been out there for a while. Everybody now is just picking up on it. They sped it up in the last 5 years, and now us, I said us, is gonna squash it and put it back in the hole it needs to be.
It's just bold. They need, but their stock dropped though. After Elon was like, shut it down, their stock plummeted.
But and when we talk about this evil and this wickedness, I will be attending a invitation only. I got the invitation yesterday. It's called The Cure. And it's supposed to be something like the concerns of the urban, communities across the country. But they sent it yesterday and want me to come to try to figure out some ways how the church again now want to try to figure out ways and examine ways on how they can come in and cure some of the problems in the Black community.
Go back to the Black Road Brigade. You ain't rewriting history. You're going back and pick up the book and actually read it.
Well, that's
and do what it says.
When I told Pastor Green I had some concerns about attending this because what are you going to do now? You're part of the problem on the reason why we are in this condition. Pastors who have been in the offices in the pulpit for years who have been compromised. They've been compromised because instead of standing tall like Christ told us to stand tall and make sure that righteousness is done on this earth, we've allowed the material things and the government to get into the church, and the church is almost destroyed.
Yeah.
When the homosexuals got into the church and all of that other foolishness, they're not evangelizing, and that's why you see spiritless children out here committing crimes, because those demons are getting in them, and they're killing people when they do those drugs, and they don't even know what they've been done.
I just got a question. Let me get this out right, because God must not want me to say it. Please tell me there's not Black churches that are offering marijuana in the pulpit to bring in the Black community. Please tell me they're not.
Okay, so this is what happened. It was in Georgia. I forget what his name is. You're probably the one with the glasses. That one. He wanted to Jamal. Yes, he wanted to encourage people. No, he wanted to encourage people to invest in marijuana farms to make money. Like he literally talked about it. It's like I want to say it was like sometime last year, almost maybe 1 or 2 years ago, that he talked about this, and it was like,
He is
okay,
an abomination.
look, it's still illegal at the federal level. Now,
It's
hemp
still
and different
illegal
things.
in Georgia too.
Yeah.
He does not know that.
But
Right,
Jamal Bryant is an abomination. First of all, he's gay. He's married.
Shut up.
He's a Democrat.
He just got married in what,
He just got
January?
married to a woman. That's all a big front. And
she's a
all
beard.
the bad things. Pastors are not supposed to be doing those type of things.
No.
We're not supposed to be compromised to the world. I mean, I told my bishop the other day, I said, man, listen, when I took this oath to become a pastor and I found out just how bad the church is in a mess, all the same stuff that's going on in the streets is going on inside the church.
Mm-hmm.
It's just cleaner. It's just cleaner because you got maids that come in and clean up, and
right.
There's a little bit more money within the confines. That's why
the church has become crazy. The church has become a house of merchandise, and it has become a den of thieves. That's it.
Yeah.
Because if the churches were strong like they used to be, we would have never saw the homosexual takeover. We would have been able to rebuild the Black community with the tithes and offerings we get. We could have been buying property. We could have been educating our own children in the schools. Millions of dollars come from the federal government. And you got people like Father Flager over on 79 and Racine getting $8 million to run a homosexual camp. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's your job. I mean, look at me. I sat up. It's your job to run these people out of the pulpit. It is literally pastors' jobs to sit there, not no bishops sitting on high. Where y'all get these names from anyway? That's not biblical. But anyway, back to you. It is up to the pastors that have that oath with the Heavenly Father that walks closer to thee than me to be calling these people. And where's your whip? Start chasing.
You know what? I already got it. That's why I told Green yesterday. I said, I'm going to come to this event, but I don't want to be wasting no time, because if there's other pastors like me that don't take this foolishness, that don't lie, don't cheat, and don't steal, but do the right thing, then I need to meet them.
The problem has really come because people aren't actually disciples, according to Matthew 28, 18 through 20. It is all of our responsibility to be a disciple and to make other disciples according to the commandment. It is a commandment from Jesus. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we're not supposed to be a burden to our leaders. And that's what's happened because it's been so commercialized. I don't think people remember Jesus had to go into the temple courts and turn the tables. Yes. Because he said, you are not going to turn my Father's house into a brood and den of vipers. Get out. Mm-hmm. But nobody has the stones to go in there and say, get out, because they're too concerned about being liked. Man, they want the clicks and the likes and all of the things.
My sword don't get clean till the end of the night, till I lay down and go sleep. And while I'm awake, I'm chopping heads off every day.
Look.
Every night I'm busting.
You got to. And, when I come across a pastor that says, or some clergy, let me put it like that. When I come across some wannabe clergy, anyways, that talks about the idea that politics don't belong in church, or they're spewing craziness like it's Jesus said it's okay to be gay. You love everybody. I know that, but these are the things that they're saying.
Yeah, that's right.
And you gotta pay attention to these churches that call themselves interfaith churches. You gotta pay attention to them, because those are the ones that are living the apostate in itself. They're the ones that are spewing this craziness. And I'll be telling them straight out. I'm like, you need to not only take that robe off, but you need to go get your money back, shred that little so-called seminary degree you got, because you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and you're a piece of trash and you're garbage for misleading this flock. And they look at me like, well, brother, why would you say something like that? I am the man of God. I'm like, no, you're the man of the devil. You're the man of the devil. Period.
But you know what?
Away from me, you worker of iniquity. That's what I tell them. They look at me like, whoa.
Yeah.
But you know what, guys? This is the thing. And I can remember growing up when we had real pastors in the church. They stopped a lot of stuff They even stopped the guys from going to prison with the feds that was coming in with the RICO Act. They had that kind of power.
Yeah.
They had the power over the schools to dictate what was being taught in the schools. The church had a lot of power, and now here we are in Revelation times. The church is almost powerless because they've been hampered, because they've taken money and been compromised by politicians whom we're supposed to govern and rule over politics. There's nothing higher than God, not even President Trump.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
So we have to understand our roles. We have to understand our power. And to y'all house Negro pastors out there, I am not relinquishing my power for nobody. I'm not giving it up. So I'm going to stand above all of this and seek righteousness, even through President Trump. I pay his salary. I pay taxes. We pay taxes. Politicians work for the people, not themselves.
That's
and
right.
It's us
Right.
who needs to control the government. It's us that need to control our communities as pastors. It's our job, because Christ said, greater works you should do after I'm gone, and I send the Holy Spirit. If you claim to have the Holy Spirit, then you need to be doing righteous things, not only in the eyes of God, but in the eyes of people too. Folks, we're gonna play this. We're gonna play this clip what the idiot said after all of this.
Morning.
Good morning.
So getting back to federalized military intervention in the Chicago area, and given the reporting and the underreporting of the incidents of riotous behavior at the Broadview ICE Center and the ICE raid of South Shore apartment complex overrun by Trinidad Aragua activity, your foundational Black constituents want to know how setting them up as collateral damage with the federal authorities furthers in a struggle for fugitive illegal immigrants, furthers your ideal of non-divisive Black and brown coalition.
Donald Trump declared war on Chicago. That's what he did. What Trump administration is doing is intentionally fomenting chaos. They're doing that on purpose because this president doesn't respect the rule of law, and he certainly doesn't respect working people. Now look, Black Hawk helicopters landing on top of apartment buildings, that's a choice and a decision that the President of the United States of America made. Those are his actions. The federal government sending in ICE, which, by the way, has a budget that only compares to the United States military and China's military.
The Blacks are getting caught up in that.
That's a decision. Well, you're absolutely right. They're being caught up in Trump's war on Chicago. That's what this is about. It's about Donald Trump and his lack of regard for working people, and particularly Black and brown people. And so what am I doing?
All right, guys, let's talk about that right quick.
Okay, here's why Democrats lose constantly, in my opinion. You create a problem, and then you try to come up with a solution worse than the problem it solves. Now you want to blame Donald Trump for something that you actually caused, because yes, they were sent to you from Texas, but you had the ability to actually deport them back to Venezuela. You had that ability and you didn't do it, period.
Randy?
You know, for him to sit here and say that Donald Trump is declaring war on Chicago, I look at the other way around, actually. Brandon Johnson, Illinois declared war on the United States by having these sanctuary city policies. All these states and cities that have sanctuary city policies, you are effectively declaring war on the United States by harboring illegals, allowing crime to flourish, allowing drugs to flourish in the country, and everything else. So you are the ones that are declaring war on the United States. So I swore oath to the Constitution of the United States to protect and defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Amen.
Right.
Simplify.
I can't listen to lies. We're not dumb. Okay, stop placating us. This is not Trump's fight. This is not Trump war. When we cannot walk safely in our own communities for decades. This racism. The man was banging a black chick for 5 years and she still ain't opened up her mouth. I am tired of the Democrat Party. Always got to go back to that we were slaves. Well, they owe us some. Well, we don't know no better. Well, our kids need a record player. Can we stop that, please? Because this placating, and they supposed to be a black man. I can't stand him. Don't talk to me that way. I'm not dumb, not stupid. And I don't think many people of Chicago are dumb and stupid when they are seeing the crime and the blood and crying over their children for years, and you're not doing anything but shutting them out, lessening their who they are as American citizens, and bringing in illegals. So can we please somebody just smack him and throw some cuffs on him? Because the first time he touched an ICE agent or any of those officers up there touch or try to arrest a federal agent is going to be hell to pay.
Well, his chief of police has already shut that down. He's already said, we cannot interfere with ICE. Please understand that. So the chief of police has shut it down.
Yeah.
So just know there is another black man that's got some sense in Chicago. He's just not the mayor.
Jay?
The chief of police definitely has sense. And kind of going back to some of the things that Randy and Lucretia have said around the benefits that illegal immigrants get, whether it's their ability to get credit or their ability to get housing. And I'm looking at all this, and I believe that Brandon Johnson, Chicago, have declared war on Black Americans. And this is the reason why I believe that. There's been a lack of trust in our ability to be economically successful. And I don't know if you guys watched the NBA playoffs, but first-year coach JJ Redick did something crazy that no one else has ever done. He played his starting five for the entire second half. He didn't trust his bench. And I believe that America doesn't trust Black Americans to do the work. They don't trust Black Americans to work. And they're bringing in all these people and giving them all these benefits. Well, Brandon Johnson keeps pointing the finger at Donald Trump. He needs to point that finger back at himself. Why don't you trust Black Americans? Why are you putting people in Chicago in tough situations where they have to compete against everybody else out there in the world?
But you know what? The thing that I despise the most about what Brandon Johnson is doing is because he blamed Trump, but he's the one that allowed the gang members to come and invade the building.
Yep,
He's the one who accepted all these immigrants to come to the city, and he never looked at the citizens. He's the one who has given out all the money, the new identities to them. They gave them cars. They gave them vouchers, Section 8 vouchers. They let them rob the jobs programs that are here. They took buses from Black children in the Black community and gave it to illegal children, talking about they can't speak English. So he's the one who has opened the door for all of this stuff to happen, and yet he pointing the finger at Trump, and he's the one that's here trying to fix it.
Yeah.
That's the idiocy that the people of Chicago chose for mayor. And Black people, we have to take responsibility for our actions. Those who went and voted for Brandon Johnson, those who was at the polls stealing. Now y'all taxes done went up. Y'all community ain't safe. Y'all scared because you don't get the $92 million worth of security that Brandon and Pritzker's getting. You are at risk. Your family at risk. I hope some of these politicians understand one thing. Now that you see the demon that you created out of Brandon Johnson, I hope that you can now try to get something back on track, but we know you ain't because you all got paid. You all got to go. We need a new Chicago. Hey, that rhyme. But let's finish him off, and then we're going to talk about Comey, and we're going to get out of here.
Okay.
I'm using every single tool that's available to me. to make sure that we protect people, all of Chicago. Donald Trump also said that the money that we're spending for black student success, he doesn't want that. He also said, let's not deliver on the resources for the Red Line extension, which has been a fight for black Southsiders for decades. And we got it done. And he's holding that up. That's what the President of the United States of America is doing, because he clearly has animus towards working people, and particularly black and brown folks. And so I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we continue to invest in these very communities and that we push back against the militarized occupation of not just our city, but cities across America.
Y'all thoughts on the village idiot, and then we're gonna go to Comey.
You know, it's one of those things. If you pick an issue to get it done for a particular people, don't add other people into it, and then make an excuse for why you didn't get it done, and then blame somebody else. I'll let it lay there.
Right, and he's complaining about Trump not investing in his train or his red line or whatever. You know, California also has a train going to nowhere that they've overspent on. They haven't finished. It's been like a decade process, and they've wasted a whole bunch of money on it. So Trump's saying, I'm not going to give you federal funds to screw this up. He said no. And then he's talking about the student success programs. Well, what kind of success have you guys had in decades? Your students can't read, they can't do math, and you're sitting here begging Trump to give you more money to be more ineffective. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. So, like, I'm laughing at what he's saying because the leadership is bad. But everything Trump does to try to improve it, they want to play the race card.
Yep,
right.
Yep. Chris?
Ditto.
Look, what we doing?
Exactly.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
It don't make sense. He is psychologically damaged because he's not looking at himself. He's not looking at all of this is happening because he took these people in and gave them taxpayers' money and overlooked the citizens. That's the whole thing.
And what's crazy is, we have the same problem down here in Austin, right? We got all this construction going on. They're trying to put in, extra transit systems and everything else. Don't have the money for it. Now they want to put a tax rate election on the ballot to raise to cover the shortfall of $33 billion that they have, or $33 million shortfall, and raise the taxes by 1.2 billion. And so it's like, first off, you're a small little city. Instead of you trying to come to the federal government for money, you need to go to your county, you need to go to your state, and you need to manage it. You need to balance your budget, and figure it out, because the federal government is not here to spoon feed you when you screw up and don't know how to manage your money. So no, I wouldn't. If I was President Trump, I'd be like, kick rocks, guy. You're a sanctuary city. You're a sanctuary city. Get those people that you're protecting, get them to pay for it.
Yeah. Well, the United Nations doesn't have a budget, but they follow the United Nations policies. Like, that's why we're here. But the UN doesn't have a budget. Do you know what I'm saying? So they are living according to what they signed up for, and it's a cult. Like, we have to just call it what it is.
It is. It really is, because the fact of the matter is this: he's not looking at he's done spent close to $1 trillion. The city of Chicago has spent close to $1 trillion on the illegals here, and they've housed them. They've gave them everything, and we still got people in Chicago sleeping under the viaduct right now. Homeless American citizens, veterans, sleeping under the viaduct, and he has not taken one penny and invested into the citizens of Chicago. He hasn't done enough for the South Side, or the West Side. He hasn't done nothing with the drug problem. He hasn't done nothing with the teen takeover problem. But yet he is taking money and spending it like water on the illegals to be in this country. If that's not running a criminal enterprise, I don't know what is, guys.
Yeah. True.
Well, we're gonna move right on along. See, Lucretia, you started something earlier about.
Hey, I didn't do that. Comey did that. I mean, Obama did that.
Barack Hussein Obama.
My goodness.
Hey, Barack, I know you're going to watch the show, so you and Big Mike get y'all some popcorn and show time up, you know. You know what? When you do stuff in the dark, it always comes to the light, man. Not only is Barack part of the Russiagate right now, they've opened 2 investigations into murders that has been committed in his presence. Donald Young, as well as Tafari Campbell, the chef that was drowned, that was having an affair with him. Donald Young was having an affair with him at Trinity Church. Big Mike got mad and had him killed. Okay, that's the bottom line. So we need to understand understand one thing. Obama was nothing but a crook, a lying, thieving crook. Also, the king queer of the country. So now here we go. All of this stuff, James Comey just got indicted because they needed to meet the statute of limitations. Now, I think that doing this, it preserves them an opportunity to hold Barack Obama accountable for his role in Russiagate. And now, all of a sudden, the fact of the matter is that his whole presidency was a fake because he was married to a man and not a woman. And it's all coming out right now. And Barack needs to be somewhere because he's next. Your thoughts on this, about this Comey? I'll play the clip and we'll talk about it.
FBI Director James Comey is set to be arraigned today. The 2 charges stem from his 2020 testimony on the FBI's Russia investigation. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is live in Washington with the latest. Nicole?
Well, Tony, good morning. Today, former FBI Director James Comey heads to federal court. The indictment, driven by a newly installed Trump-appointed prosecutor, is already sparking political fireworks and a heated clash here on Capitol Hill.
This morning, former FBI Director James Comey is set to be arraigned at a federal courthouse just outside Washington, D.C. Last month, Comey was indicted and charged with lying to Congress and obstructing congressional proceedings, allegations he denies.
I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial and keep the faith.
Comey's indictment came after President Trump pressured the Justice Department to prosecute his political enemies, including Senator Adam Schiff, New York Attorney General Letitia James, and Comey.
If they're not guilty, that's fine. If they are guilty or if they should be charged, they should be charged.
Comey was indicted by newly appointed U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan, a former Trump defense lawyer with no prior prosecutorial experience. She replaced a different U.S. attorney also appointed by Trump, whose sources say did not believe there was enough evidence to prosecute Comey. Comey's indictment, a main topic of a debate in a fiery Senate Judiciary hearing on Tuesday with Attorney General Pam Bondi.
I'd like to know from you what conversations you've had with President Trump about the indictment of James Comey.
Senator, I am not going to discuss any conversations I have or have not had with the President of the United States.
Did you see that the night before James Comey's indictment? You had dinner with the President of the United States. Pretty intimate group.
Actually, there were a lot of people there that night. That's a great
James
picture.
Comey discussed at that dinner.
I love that
Are
picture.
you?
I'll let you guys go ahead. Go ahead and start.
I am so sick of these senators. Like, I want them all in prison. Like, Leavenworth should be the resting place. All right. You do not disclose. It's called attorney-client privilege, bro. You don't discuss anything with the president. Now, anything that's document, that are transcripts, those belong to us, the people of the United States. That's the people's house, right? Okay, I'll let y'all have it.
Okay, Lucretia, you went over there.
I don't know. That was good. She handled her own because she's talking to crooks. Blumenthal, dude, sit down, stolen valor. Adam Schiff, that's so much, honey. You need to worry about your pedo ways. And your lying ways. Literally, this is what happened. The Barack Obama and the Biden holdovers, they waited and waited and waited and waited, and they thought they was going to escape. 1 week before the statutes of limitations was that ran out, they went ahead and indicted him. Why? To hold him there, because they're digging into all of them. This is going to, like you said, a RICO. They're going to bring it all together. Hillary Clinton has to testify. Bill Clinton has to testify. Mayor Herter. all of them has to testify in front of the Judiciary Committee. So they can't say I plead the fifth because they're private citizens, and Obama has to testify. So this is going to wrap up into a nice little bow, and they did it to themselves.
Randy?
Oh, yeah, I echo and I agree, because at the end of the day, when you have all this corruption, that's blatant corruption. That's the thing that pisses me off about the left. They see, the media especially, but they see that there's corruption. They see that things were corrupted, and they see that all the stuff is coming out, but they still double down and say there, nothing to see here. Oh, by the way, Trump is still got charged with 34 felonies. So what about that? It's like, okay, but he's now the sitting president of the United States because of what you have been corruptly doing these last 10, 15 years. So we're going to put the ball back into your court, and we're going to prosecute your asses. And there's that. And but the left, but people that vote for the left, let me put it like that. Yeah. If you can't see through all of this and say that I've been getting lied to constantly over and over and over again, I'm being brainwashed into this. Why am I still following these clowns? Why am I still voting for these clowns? That is Stockholm syndrome, Pastor Lowry, that you talked about. That's what that is. These people are crazy. They need help.
Dre?
Yeah. Well,
I first need to do my disclaimer because nothing that I say right now. But I'm about to come in. Listen, Comey is a professional liar, and we saw what he said. Like during this interview, he said that he was innocent, and I was looking at his face. I was just like, he doesn't believe he's innocent. Nope. He knows he's messed up. But another thing is, this is the same individual that went on the beach and put seashells together that said 8647. Okay. Yep. He has a vendetta against Trump. He's a weird individual, and I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. That's my perspective.
Well, the thing of it is that he's corrupt. His daughter is corrupt. They're fruit from a corrupt tree. So the name Comey is synonymous with corruption. And so you was right, Lucretia. They were smart because they held it almost to the end of the statute of limitation running out. And now they got Barack and everybody on complete hold. They were probably saying, one more day, get by. And now
remember what's just coming out yesterday when it comes to the Biden Criminal Foundation and Crime Family happening in the Ukraine. They now just dropped a whole bunch of paperwork on that. That is corruption. You remember that $1 billion that was the bribe before, for the Pacheco. So that came out. We also found out that Comey had a secret closet that they forgot to shred a lot of paperwork.
Wow.
So, Leticia James is in trouble. They're not getting away with this. Adam Schiff is in trouble. And what they did to not only Kash Patel, but what they did to Dan Bongino, they're coming after them, and they coming after them the right way. Because they left so many trails behind them. They in trouble, not us. We just gonna have fun looking and saying, finally.
Well, like I said, Barack Obama was the head of this ring of corruption, and it's about time. See, sometimes when you do things one way and you think you got away with it, God got a way of showing you that you're gonna get caught for everything. And I think the Obamas have been exposed, and Michelle's a man. And because the question that I have, Michelle, to you, and I know you're gonna watch the show tonight.
Yeah.
Can somebody tell me what happened to Michael Laverne Robinson? Where is he at?
Oh, well.
Right in front of us.
Well, where is, because Michael Laverne Robinson was voting up until Barack got ready to run for president as a man. Ooh. What happened to where is he at? And I think that when we find Michael Laverne Robinson, then we're going to find Michelle Obama. That's what I think, folks.
Wow, that's crazy. because we don't have any death certificates or anything. We don't have any nothing. It's just a dead stop. Like no more voting record. Like it just ended. And then wow.
If he
not
transgender because he didn't cut it off. So this is a man. He got boobies. He got boobies. That's a dude.
Are we doing a Bangkok? Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? Okay. 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 All right.
But my thing is, because when we find Michael Laverne Robinson, we're gonna find out. Because if he not dead, where he at? Is he missing somehow? Barack, you need to look for your brother-in-law. Y'all need to start hunting for him.
Now, y'all, you know that secret ain't gonna come out until.
Look, Joan Rivers is no longer with us. Okay, let's just say that.
Yeah, we need to start a committee so we can hunt down Michael Laverne Robbins. We need to find that man. He's not dead. We checked it. Somebody checked the death certificates in Cook County and see if he dead yet or is he still alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See,
wow.
Go to Ancestry.com. Let's pull some DNA. Let's pull some DNA samples up.
Yeah, so
those files are probably vacuum sealed in some kind of vault in Chicago
or in Hawaii. I'm still looking for the birth certificate.
Right.
Well, you know what? We could do one thing. We could ask Michelle to pull down her pants or pull up her dress. It's a doctor. It was a doctor explicitly said that he saw Michael Robinson peeing standing up at an event that they were at. Now that was Michelle Obama. That was the last show we did. We did that show that Friday, and the doctor clearly said that they gave him millions of dollars, but he saw what they did to the country, and he said Michelle is Michael Laverne Robinson, y'all.
Wow.
Y'all last thoughts on that, and we're gonna get out of here.
Well, you know, the truth will always win out. It will. It will. We're seeing it with Comey. We're seeing it with Adam Schiff. We're seeing it with Letitia James. Sorry. With Letitia James. We're seeing it with all of these people, but it's all coming out. Everything will be exposed. Like Cat Williams, he was on to something in 2024. And ever since that interview that he had with Shannon Sharp, it has all come out. That's all I gotta say. It's all come out.
Chris, you up next.
That's gay. That's pretty much all that was running through my head when she was talking. That is so gay. That's gay. That's pretty much. I'm gonna end it there.
Randy, your last words.
Hey, this is a great discussion tonight, y'all. I truly appreciate it. I would just say this. You know, I would like to read through the OBGYN records.
Yes.
that'd be the be all end all right there for me. But outside of that, though, on a serious tip, you know, the corruption in our government, because it's on both sides at the end of the day. Both sides are complicit with everything that's going on. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like it's only just one side. It's both sides, but the most egregious side is the left side of this, and you know, the Democrat Party. And we're seeing it, you know, and so I'm not going to hold my breath for justice to prevail, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, these folks will do the perp walk, and then we're going to forget about it because we're you know, as American people, we have short-term memory. We're gonna think they're in jail somewhere, but they're gonna be off on an island chilling, you know, and so it is what it is. But hey, thanks, and catch y'all next time.
Go, Dre.
Well, I enjoyed the panel. I am not going to touch anything with Michael or Michelle, but what I will say is that we need to pay attention, and I'm glad that we had this panel discussion so that people learn the truth about what's really happening in Chicago and pushing back against the finger pointing that's coming from Brandon Johnson toward President Trump. The race card is not going to save them. The law will prevail.
Guys, thank you, and we're gonna keep it up. I'll see you ladies tomorrow. Y'all have a good one, and we're gonna make sure we continue to add, and we're gonna continue to be the station that brings you the information that you need to stay up on the game. Folks, these are my last words. I want to thank you for tuning in. There's a lot of things that's going on here in Chicago, and to the American people and patriots across this country, especially Black Americans, we can see clearly what's being done here in Chicago. We see it clearly what's being done in New York, California. All the Democratic states have been using taxpayers' money to fund illegal activity. They have created a criminal enterprise in these cities, especially here in Chicago. Brandon Johnson is running a criminal enterprise, and yet he's talking about President Trump doing bad things, but it was him who are openly took in all the illegals and the gang members and the pedophiles and the homosexuals. All of the bad things that are happening in Chicago is happening under the Democratic leadership as well as around the country. And to the American people of patriots across this country, it's time for us to clean house. It's time for us to shut the Democratic Party down. They're the party of evil. They're the party that hate God. They're the party that hates family. They hate marriage between a man and a woman. They want your children to be homosexuals in the schools. They're the party who are trying to create classes of people that won't ask questions and let us run this country into the ground. That's the Democratic Party. It's time for the American people to wake up and get rid of these clowns so we can make our country great again. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in.